Hi, this is Jenny Rice from Biz Tips Podcast. I'm very excited about our guest today. We've got Curt Swindoll, who's a certified EOS implementer. Welcome, Curt.
Thanks very much, Jenny. Good to be with you.
Yeah, I'm really excited to have you as a guest. So, why don't you start with a little bit? Tell us about your background and exactly what you do.
So I'm a reluctant entrepreneur, Jenny.
Okay.
I was in multiple C-level positions, and my early career was in technology. It evolved into some nonprofit work in fundraising and operations. I got my MBA in 2000, and that's when I launched my first business in 2000. It's a little bit of background on me. I've been doing this EOS work for about 4 years now, and I'm having the time of my life doing it.
That's great. So, tell me a little bit more about the EOS and how you support businesses.
Yeah, EOS is really a framework for how you run and execute a business efficiently and effectively. We help leaders do three key things. We help them clarify their vision, so they're stating it to their team clearly and getting everybody on board with that. Where are we going? How do we plan to get there? And everybody kind of rowing in the same direction. Then we help them create traction around that vision so that everyone's rowing in the same direction. We're all working toward the same ultimate goal. And then we're cultivating healthy relationships through open and honest communication. We want to do work we love, but we want to do it with people we love. And the only way
Mm,
we can do that is if we have open and honest conversation and put things on the table so that we can deal with it. So, at a high level, that's what we do. So, I work with a variety of entrepreneurs, helping them run and grow their businesses more successfully. Many times, our clients are hitting their heads against the ceiling, they're frustrated, they've had some initial success, but they're really struggling at figuring out, how do I take this thing to the next
mhm.
level? And so we help them do that through the framework of EOS.
Yeah. I love that you're starting with their vision of where they want to be. So they
Very
kind of
much
know,
so.
I know where I want to be. And then now I check in where I am now. And how do I get there? But also not just how do I reach my vision, but how do I do it holistically with the people that I work with, build those
Yeah,
relationships. Like you said, I want to work with people I love. So making the journey there even more exciting and more rewarding, I would imagine.
very much so. And I think a key part of that is simplifying everything.
Hmm.
We are on a march toward complexity. We are in our world, this little iPhone thing here started out as a phone, right? And now it does how many different things for us? Everything is becoming more and more and more complicated. And I think that's true in our businesses too. And so, as things become more and more complex, they become harder and harder to understand and communicate. And so, it's no wonder that people on our teams are really struggling to grasp what our vision is. We're not making it easy on them, we're only making it more complicated. So, that becomes a big part, the early part of our engagement is kind of dumbing things down, making it more and more simple so that we can explain it to our team better and easier and faster in ways they understand more, and our customers too.
Yeah, that's so great that it doesn't need to be complex. If you look
Yeah.
at it from that angle, complex things take harder to reach, harder to gain, to get to. But if you simplify it, then people can implement it easier and you get there faster, I would imagine too.
What's the old adage, Abraham Lincoln saying that I would have written a shorter letter, but I didn't have the time, right?
Yeah. It
It's
was just,
hard.
yeah.
It's hard to say it succinctly. And so one of the things I help my clients do is to describe the niche that they're in 3 words. Give me
Mm,
2 adjectives and a noun. See if you
that's
can do that.
great.
I asked my son, he works for a high-end audio shop in the Dallas area here, really high-end. I asked him one day, "What do you do?" And I challenged him to describe it in 3 words. And he said, "Well, Dad," in like 5 or 10 seconds, it was crazy. He said, "We create bespoke musical experiences
Mm,
for people." Well, that got me thinking, right? So then I thought I would stump him. And I said, "Well, why do you do that?" Because that's the other part of
hmm.
clarifying what your business is all about. And like instantly he said, "Well, because music changes people."
Mm.
And in what, 8, 10 words, he had described their business. We create bespoke musical experiences because music changes people. Now, how clear is that? Now, it doesn't explain everything they do and all the products and services that they offer and those kinds of things. But in a nutshell, if you care about bespoke musical experiences and you believe that music changes you, you
You
are
got it.
likely a target part of their market. You're a customer who might find what they have to offer very interesting. So
Yeah. Not only did he simplify, but he made it very motivating too.
very
So
much
you
so.
want to
Yeah.
attach to that because it's like, oh, yes, I want to be part of that mission, right?
You're attracted to it. It was Jim Collins in his work Built to Last, who talked about vision being this magnet to which we're either drawn or repelled. And I think that's an interesting thing. Our tendency as entrepreneurs is wanting to cast this wide net that will catch
Mm,
as many fish as possible, right? When the reality is we want to catch a certain kind of fish. There's a customer who's going to be very interested in us, and the faster we can help them make that decision and we can make that decision, the less expensive it is to find a customer. And so how do we clarify that statement in a way that either attracts or repels you?
yeah, absolutely. And I find a lot of my clients too, they tend to exactly that, put a wide net around. And then
Yep.
how do you find your clients? You don't know where they play, where they hang out, and things like that. And then it's like there's just too many people to bring in. Where if you niche it down,
Yep.
you have clarity around who it is, where they hang out, where they play, so you can go find them.
You're right on the money. Yep. Yeah. The more fish we catch, the more we have to go through to figure out which ones we want to keep, right?
Yeah.
And so how do we cast this net in a way where we're capturing folks that are perfect for us and we're perfect for them? And
Yes.
I think the more we can do that through the language we use, the better off we are. And that
Yeah.
starts with making a simple statement about what we're all about.
Yeah. I use the analogy of you're in a room of 1,000 people and you stand up on stage and you say, I and who your niche is. And one person in the background goes, oh my God, that's me. And they know it's them because you
Yep.
you talked right to them. Right.
Yep. Yeah, I was talking with my son-in-law the other day. He's started a technology company in Southern California, and I said, "How many businesses are in your target market?" And he actually is a brilliant marketer, but he hadn't looked at that across the country. They're relatively new, and so of course, we submitted that to a popular AI tool to ask how many businesses are in his target market, business to business companies, companies that offer services, things like that. And he discovered there are 250,000 of them.
Mm,
Now, for him to go after 250,000 is just to bury himself in
yeah.
cost and work and all that, right? And so the question then was, well, how many do you need to really be successful? And he realized about 0.1% of the market.
Mm,
And I said, so out of those 250,000 businesses, there's 0.1% of them that desperately need what you want.
mm-hmm.
So now the question is, how do we find those in the most cost efficient way possible, right? And that becomes the challenge, ultimately the challenge of his business. They built their product. Their product works. They've sold it several places. People are rabid fans of it. The question simply is, how do we solve the marketing dilemma here and access that 0.1% of the market that he needs in order to have a successful technology business? So,
Yeah. And it's identifying who they are, first of all, and then identifying how you can go find them and
yeah.
then talk to them, right? Which is really important. So,
Yeah, he had connected with a company. I'm here in the Dallas, Texas area, and he was out visiting, and he visited a prospect while he was out here. And like in minutes, the prospect was saying, "Oh, we're going to work together." Like
oh, great.
it was a done
It
deal.
was
Why
easy.
is that? Because he'd found exactly the right fish for him.
Yeah.
He'd found a company that was in need of what he had to offer, and he had the perfect solution for them. And so that's the question. Out of those 250,000 businesses, how do I find the handful that are in the right place at the right time and they
Yeah.
really want what
Yeah.
we have to offer?
And that's the $1 million question. How do you solve that problem so that
It
you can
is.
attract those clients in there?
I
Right.
think if entrepreneurs spent time focusing on that question. What are we offering? Who wants it? And how do I create my pitch in a way where there is an instant connection to it that would, I've got a friend that's in the Rev Ops business, and Rev Ops is ultimately all about figuring out what is our product, how do we sell it, how do we make it available to folks, and clarify that marketing message in a way that just immediately connects us with customers who
Mm-hmm.
want it. And I think that's a really, really important part of growing an entrepreneurial business.
Yeah, absolutely. Really good tips. And just wonder, do
Mhm.
you have any challenges you face as an entrepreneur? You've talked really about your history, about nonprofit, about helping different things, your EOS. What challenges did you face and how did you overcome them?
Yeah. You know, um, I'm a believer in the importance of knowing ourselves. I think I think for me, part of my entrepreneurial journey has been just coming to grips with understanding what I love to do, what makes me tick, right? I think one of the reasons that I was a reluctant entrepreneur is because I love business. I love the science and the mechanics and the elements that I love actually the complexity of business and understanding how all the pieces work together. So I always pictured myself working in a more complex business situation. And what I came to understand is that I love working with leadership teams, that I can get a lot of that satisfied by working in a variety of environments with a variety of leadership teams, dealing with a variety of challenges and coming alongside them to help them be successful. And so for me, a big part of my entrepreneurial journey has been coming to grips with understanding, who am I? And what do I enjoy? What makes me tick? What gives me energy? Doesn't drain me? I wanted to do this work in 2000 when I started my first agency, but we weren't able to make it work. We didn't have the framework of EOS. And so it evolved into doing some fundraising work for nonprofits. And while that was good work and it was successful work and our business thrived in that process, it wasn't work that really filled me up in terms of my energy. And it wasn't until I found EOS that I discovered something that really gives me
You,
energy
you
and doesn't
connected.
deplete me over time. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think it ties into your niche too, because you want your niche to be in an arena, an area that jazzes you, that, rejuvenates you, rewards you, so that it's a win-win because you're helping them succeed, but you're getting, the reward, your self-fulfillment in doing that. And it's that double connection that really makes people shine.
I was in the middle of a real busy season. I had done a number of full day sessions with my clients back to back. I was exhausted, but I was energized. Now, that sounds like a crazy dichotomy, right?
Mhm.
I was physically tired, but I was mentally just rejuvenated. In fact, I remember sitting in the middle of a session with a client the fourth or fifth day in a row. And I thought, how fortunate I am to be able to do this work. I love this. I'm energized by it. And I want to go find some place to go to sleep. Because I was mentally tired, but I'm continually
Yeah.
energized by that work I do with clients. And if I wanted anything for your entrepreneurial listeners and viewers, it would be to find
Yes. Find
that
your sweet
thing that
spot.
that gives them energy that they could just do all day, every day, and never grow tired of it.
Yeah. And that's really an inspiring mention because it's not about how successful you are, how much money you make. It's about feeling satisfied at the end of the day that I've made a difference. I've done something
Yeah.
that I love and I've made an impact. And if, if you can answer those questions at the end of your day, then that reward is going to come within, right?
There's a whole lot of other things that take care of themselves when those things fall into place. Money
Absolutely.
takes care of itself. We find clients, we find investors, we find colleagues that we get to work with. You know, a lot of things fall into line when we're doing work we love. And that it helps take the sting out of the no's that we get
Hmm.
when we're marketing and selling and trying to find customers. It makes the long days at least a little bit shorter because we're energized by the work that we're doing and we know that it's truly helping someone.
Yeah. I think that's the it factor, is that, and you mentioned that about your son too, is that he is making a difference. Like that
Yeah.
client he found, making an impact. They need you. Same with you. It's like, I am making an impact. That's the reward I get. I get jazzed by doing this every day, but seeing the impact it's having on that client is really the ultimate reward.
For me, it's super important. In fact, in EOS, we always help our clients when we talk about the question of why they do what they do. We're trying to get to that place of purpose in life, a sense of cause, a passion. We often think, are you helping someone? Are you solving some
Hmm.
problem in the world? Are you trying to win at something? Are you trying to build something? These are four very common sources of purpose, cause, or passion. It often doesn't speak to the product or service that you offer. It
Mm,
speaks to a deeper need that you're trying to meet with your fellow human beings. How am I bringing value to this world? What brings me to tears? What
mm.
moves me? And I think when we can connect in with some deeper meaning like that, oh my goodness, we can be energized forever doing that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow, you're bringing so many insights into the impact you're making about how other entrepreneurs can feel that same reward that they're getting. So, yeah,
Great. I hope
yeah,
so. I think these are really core elements to why we do what we do. And it's beyond making a living. I've worked with clients where I've asked them that why question, and they look back at me puzzled. Well, it's to make a living, right? It's to eat, it's to put food on the table, it's to provide for my family, all of those kinds of reasons. And I understand there's importance to those things. I appreciate the sense of responsibility you have, but I don't think ultimately those are energizing things in life.
right. Yeah. Those are the daily, not daily grind, but there's more to it. You need a bigger why
Yeah,
to keep you going when things get tough too, right?
yeah,
So,
for sure, for
well,
sure.
you've given so many tips for our listeners, but as we end this podcast, any final entrepreneurial tips that you have?
Nothing that comes to mind. We've hit on some really important things. Maybe the summary statement on all of this is to do your homework at the very
Mm,
beginning of the entrepreneurial process, or maybe even wherever you are. Go back to your roots of knowing yourself, knowing what energizes you, clarifying that through your business in a way where people can quickly and easily understand it, and then finding a way to connect with your customers, that your prospects that need you and want what you have to offer as quickly and easily as possible. So,
yeah. And I think the key word there is simplifying and fulfillment there,
yeah,
so that you get both of those together so you can
yeah,
clearly explain it to people and you feel good about doing it too, right? So,
that's great. It's a great way to simplify and clarify that, Jenny. Yeah,
yeah,
great.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's been great having you on this podcast. I've learned a lot, so thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
appreciate being here. Yep.
yeah. So this is Jenny Rice with our very special guest, Curt Swindoll. Did I say that right?
You did.
Okay,
Thank you.
perfect. Okay. Thanks again.
You bet.